I learned the power of loving my body. I learned how much I took my body for granted and how much more I wanted to love it. We've tied our femininity so much to our body, our shape, our size, our sexiness, a lot about how others see us. And it's so much more than that. It's about confidence, which is really self-love.
Would it be okay if I were to tell you that I am afraid someday? So I call you up and you call me down. Would it be okay?
Well, hello and welcome to the FreedHearts podcast, episode 13. My name is Robert Cottrell, and I am here, as always, with the amazing
Susan Cottrell.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
I know. We took a little break, and we are back, and we are glad you're back with us. We are going to do a very, very, very special episode here. And Susan is going to share her heart, and I hope I don't have much to say in this because I need to just be quiet and listen and learn. But we're going to talk today about life without breasts, a discussion of femininity. Susan, you were diagnosed in the summer of 2019 with breast cancer.
Yes.
And they caught it early, but it was aggressive. It was fast growing.
Yeah.
But
non-aggressive, but fast growing.
Yeah. But they caught it early. You made the choice to have a double mastectomy and an oophorectomy, which is having your ovaries out.
Yes.
In late 2019. And you also decided not to have any reconstruction.
Yes.
And a lot of people have asked you about that, about what it means to lose your breasts, and your ovaries, and how that affects how you feel about yourself, in particular, your femininity. And that's what sparked us to talk about this today. So,
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think it's really important because a lot of women are facing this today, a lot of women. And so I just wanted to kind of bare my soul, so to speak, and share my experience because it was powerful. It was life-changing, as they always say with the cancer journey, it's life-changing. But this was huge. So, and let me just say that I'm going to speak from my own experience. Obviously, I'm not pretending that I'm speaking comprehensively. All I have is my own experience. But I hope that you can take it for what it's worth. And I'll share what I've gained. Now, when the diagnosis came, it was in July, and I had the surgery only a month later, which was really great.
Yeah.
But I had already given birth to my children, had already nursed them. And so I was not in the position of being someone who's 30, who's looking at those things in front of them and have to make a really life-altering decision. So I just want to state that out right now. If you are younger, there's a whole nother dimension that I did not experience. So, in fact, we have a chosen daughter who is going to have the surgery next month.
And she's in her late 20s.
She's in her late 20s. And her biological sister has full-on cancer. And so our girl is getting her breasts removed just prophylactically and feels excited and frightened, by it. So my heart goes out to you for anybody in this position right now. I just want you to know it's not just an easy thing. It's a big thing. And it's not even that it's terrifying. It's a big thing to think about.
So why did you decide not to have reconstruction?
Yeah. So first of all, I did decide to have them both removed. I didn't want one and not the other.
The cancer was in one.
It was in one. It was very small. They could have just removed it. But with my family history.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that.
Well, my mother died at 39 of breast cancer, and her mother died at 39 of breast cancer. Now, I have two older sisters that neither of them got it. So I'm grateful for that. And I didn't get it till, I was 60 when I got it. So I feel like, that's more like the average age. So it wasn't the genetic marker that caused it. But I do have the BRCA2 gene, which means whatever. You can look it up. That it's the predisposition to get it. So So I decided to have them both removed and just be done with it because I didn't want to come back in 5 years because it had come back. So I wanted to be done.
Well, one thing that you also didn't want to, you really were clear that you did not want to go through chemotherapy and things like that. So I think you were very much interested in doing whatever you had to do to
be ahead of it.
To be ahead of that.
Yes. Yes. And very fortunately, my situation did not indicate chemo or radiation. So I didn't even have to make that decision. I'm really grateful for that. I know that's a very tough road. If you are going through that, my heart goes out to you. That's what I mean by that. So, but I went ahead and had the surgery, and I decided against reconstruction because it didn't cross my mind that I wanted a rebuild of something that was not me. It didn't feel, and maybe I'll say this a dozen times throughout, but this is a personal decision. Everybody's different. You may say, I absolutely want them. I won't feel like myself without them. You are empowered to do what you need to do. But I felt like for me, I didn't want reconstruction. And I happened to talk to a friend who had reconstruction. She did it maybe 10 years ago or something. And she said what they didn't tell her is that they don't feel like you. I mean, it makes sense when you think about it, but she just wasn't aware that they call them Frankenboobs. Because
I didn't say that.
No, I said that actually, and the nurse said that. That's too after I brought it up to her that my friend had said they don't feel like her.
Well, I think what I heard her say is that you don't have any sensation there. You have no feeling there.
Yeah. Well, okay. So it's two things.
Okay.
So it's like this alien thing, like you're carrying around a little knapsack that's attached to you all the time that's weighted, and they don't feel like you. Now I may be overstating the case from what what my friend said. It may not feel that way for everybody, but for me, it reconfirmed what I already intuitively knew, which is I didn't want reconstruction. But then they also said that you don't have sensation there because it's alien. They've cut all your nerves. But I was surprised actually that I do have some sensation on my flat chest, not on Frankenboobs, but on my flat chest. I have some sensation, which I didn't really expect to have. It's not the same as the rest of me, but and it actually is a sensual feeling, and that was surprising to me.
Yeah. Well, we talked about this a little bit to some other people going through this from the partner standpoint, and we'll get to that in just a minute too, a bit more. But yeah, I think that I just said to somebody yesterday that we were surprised that area, that the breasts are gone, but that area is still very sensitive and very sensual in a way to you, to the touch. Yeah.
Somewhat sensitive and sensual.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it feels like you're touching me erotically when you touch me there, which is, I didn't really expect would happen.
Yeah.
So
how does this, I mean, the connection to femininity and the definition of being feminine, what it means to be a woman, all these kind of trap phrases that I just hate, and are so loaded and so defined by society and the view of others or the opinion of others and all that. Did you feel somehow not whole or not complete? Did you worry about that in this?
I actually didn't. I'm not saying people don't. People feel that way, don't feel that way, but I actually did not feel that way. And, I kind of, it's kind of like if you lose a finger, you're not one person minus a finger. You're just you. Now, obviously, it's different with your breasts. That's clear. But I'm still whole. And I always felt that way. What it did was give me a profound appreciation for my body that I had really just kind of taken for granted before. I just, need you to do these things for me. I need you to, get up in the morning. Let's go. Come on. and I discovered this tenderness for my body that I had really taken for granted. And I'm very grateful for that. And I think it's really important to find your own peace and wholeness through this journey. I really did find peace with myself. And I was not even, I didn't feel contemptuous toward my body. That's not how I thought I was at all. But I had not appreciated it to the depth that I do now. And I love my body now. I love my body I could be moved to tears just thinking about how much my body has done for me, has carried me through. Without it, I wouldn't have a place to live.
Yeah.
And we take our bodies for granted so much. We look in the mirror and we say, oh, that belly. Oh, those hips. And it's awful. We speak to our body and our mind in ways that we would never speak to a friend. And our body is our best friend. It's what allows us to live here. And the ovaries too. That was, somebody else said, wow, both parts, it felt like a real affront in her mind asking me, she felt like it would be a real affront to her femininity to lose those parts. But I don't feel that way. I feel like they did what they were supposed to do. My gosh, I have all these children with you, that we have enjoyed all these years with. I got to nurse them, all those things. And I feel like this was a beautiful opening into finding out how much I really love me and how important it is to love me.
Yeah. It's interesting because watching you go through this and that your journey, as those who have followed your journey, has been amazing. You're so strong in this, but yeah, you have a better opinion of yourself and your body physically, a deeper love for yourself than you had before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think that, like I touched on,
and let me be clear. It's not because it looks like a supermodel body either. It's not because it looks like what, magazines say it should look like. It's because it's my body.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. And
right.
I love the size and shape of it. I love everything about it, and I know we always have those thoughts that go through our mind of this or that about it. But I really appreciate my body. That's right. In a way that I didn't before.
And going through, even talking about this has made us even more aware of the message that we're getting from the culture, from how we're raised, from every ad on television and every fashion ad and every magazine cover that says, if you don't look like this, if you're not shaped like this, then you're not whatever. And that's just crap. Excuse me. It's just
Crapalina.
awful,
That's right. Because their perspective is to sell, and you don't buy as much when you're happy. When you're satisfied, you don't buy those things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they've got a vested interest in you not liking how you are.
Well, going through this with you was a real blessing to me because we just, one of the things you did for me over the last couple of weeks is you have these window crayons and you wrote on my bathroom mirror. We actually have two bathrooms and one is primarily mine, not by, we wanted it that way because we just had that. One is mine primarily and one is yours. And so in mine, you wrote these words of affirmation. I am magnificent. I am amazing. I am handsome. I mean, all true.
All profoundly true.
All profoundly true. No, I am humble on there. So I guess I don't have to.
No,
I got that one down. But, and that it's just so important but going through this with you made me gave me a much deeper understanding of all those issues about body image and how much we don't do a lot of self-love and self-acceptance, and so it was a real honor and a blessing to be your partner through this.
Thank you. Let me tell you that, and I hesitate because not everybody has somebody in their corner, and so I don't want to cause anybody additional pain by saying this, but when you have a partner to walk you through, it is all the difference. And you were astounding. And your acceptance of me was just astounding. You never, ever made me feel in any way diminished by these surgeries. That's just such a gift. So if you're a caregiver,
I was going to say
that's a gift.
Well, I was going to say that too, that I know that we have couples listening to this. In fact, we have one couple that this is their date night. They listen to us. This is a podcast. So I hope the wine is good. I don't know. So
they said they have wine with it. You didn't bring that up. I don't think. I guess you didn't know that, but yeah.
But we have couples listening to this. And so I know that. So I just want to say to the guys out there, or the partners out there, the partners out there, that if you want to talk about my perspective in this and any counsel that I may have or advice, or just sharing my heart with you on that, reach out to me. It's just robert@freedhearts.org. Reach out to me and I'd be happy to talk about that with you. Because we did some fun things. We actually did a goodbye ritual.
We did. Didn't we? Yes. And I got that idea from a friend who went through top surgery as part of the gender non-binary change. So that was interesting. But yes, we did a ceremony.
Yeah, the night before. Yeah, the night before. Yeah.
And it was really actually cool. We thanked my breasts for all their, presence and service and all of the things all these years, and said we appreciate them and we're going to miss them.
Yeah. And I'll be honest with you. There are times when we still miss them.
Yes.
But,
yes.
And I said this to someone recently, a caregiver, a partner, about this issue, that, guys are like, I feel like a junior high guy and boobs, and when you take that away, so to speak, you discover like, oh, wow, there's the neck, and there's the side of the neck, and the back of the neck, and the shoulder, and all these things. It's like, so it's opened up a lot of things in that.
So it's made you grow up.
That's okay. TMI. No, I was okay before.
You were fantastic before.
But so anyway, it's yeah. I mean, okay.
Got you off your game.
All right, let me get back to that. So what if I do know that there is that again, you had mentioned that you may not have a caregiver, a partner in this, and your partner may we talk about when a child comes out, that sometimes the mom and the dad respond at different times, different places in the journey.
Yes.
I think you had experience with someone.
Yeah, this gal that I know, a friend, after her surgery, her husband would recoil from her and didn't want to touch her at all. And she later found out he has some other issues that needed to be addressed. So that was separate. So it explained a lot for her. But imagine the pain that caused her. And she told me she went to a nudist colony for a while, a number of times, until she could really get used to her body as it was post-surgery and come to love and value it. And so you can do whatever you need to do, even without a partner, to increase your self-love for your body. It deserves it. You deserve it.
Yeah, we were moved there's a lake by where we live, and we were there one day with Annie, our daughter, and their partner, Edward, just sitting on the grass, and something really interesting happened. This was almost right after the surgery or close to it. Yeah.
Yeah. And this group came up. It was two females and 2 trans males. And the 2 males took off their shirts. They were post-surgery. And you could see the scars, but
there was such freedom.
There was so much freedom in that, and joy. And you could tell it. You could tell by looking that it hadn't been forever. There's still some remnant of the recent scars, but they were so joyous to be out there topless as males. And I just loved that for them.
Yeah. Well, would you say that we talk about this go ahead.
Oh, I wanted to say before you move on to another subject that one of the things, I made a joke when I spoke not too long after the surgery. And I said, yeah, I've had my top surgery now. There's no link I won't go to relate to my community. And they really laughed. So, yeah, it's funny. All right. Go ahead.
Well, I think and we've talked about this, but you talk about, you need to love yourself. You need to love yourself. We need self-love. But sometimes going through this kind of thing for you made that right at the forefront.
That's right.
It was your level of self-love was going to be clear.
Yes.
By how you felt.
Yeah, it would point out areas where I wasn't self-loving. Yes. And I think it's just a process for anybody. And I think I had done a lot of the process before of just, I've grown in the area of self-love and self-talk and all of that. But with the surgery, it was a deepening where I really had to turn inward and say how much I love me and let that deepen. And as you said in the beginning, we have this tied to our shape and our size. It's tied to our sexiness, all of that. And it's a lot about how others see us. I didn't say this a minute ago, but I think it could be that there's a fair push, as I said, toward reconstruction. I did feel a little bit of a push. I have no complaints from the caregivers or anything. It was an exceptional experience. But there's a little bit of a push that way. If I hadn't been so certain what I wanted, I might have been talked into it. And I wonder sometimes if it is for others, if it's so that I will be pleasing outwardly, so that I'll look more like I'm supposed to look, or be more pleasing for you. Or, I wonder if that is behind that, if you know what I mean.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I think that, for me.
So it takes a lot of determination at the beginning to say, no, I'm going to be happy with this. In fact, one more thing is I have a little dip in my chest. I had something called pectum excavatus when I was little.
Is that a Harry Potter?
Yes, it's a spell.
Sorry.
Yeah. Pectum excavatus, and I had to have surgery to help this dip in my chest. And it's still there, but it's much less than it was before surgery when I was 12. A lot of information there. But there's still something of a dip. And one of the surgeons, I guess, said, we can take some part from elsewhere, some tissue from elsewhere, and fill that in, even without reconstruction, just to make it flatter, so it's more normal looking, is what she was saying. And I said, no, I don't want to do that. It looks odd to others if they were to see it, but it's my chest, and I really want it the way it is. And it was really kind of interesting how, I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. You again, your commitment to yourself has always been to love you for who you are, exactly as you are. It's amazing. It's the same message you give to others.
Yes.
But it really has to start with you. And what you said, and again, this is your journey. This is our journey. Other people will make different decisions, and that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
What my encouragement to you out there would be to press into the reasons, because you said you wondered about reconstruction. You wondered about how I would feel about you. I'll give you my opinion there. If that would change things to me, that would raise other issues that I need to deal with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But and you have to think about how you would view yourself in that. But I would press into those issues before you make a decision to have reconstruction or not to have reconstruction. There's just
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
So understand why. In other words,
Yeah.
like people who, it's not the same thing, but people who get plastic surgery and then they get another, surgery, because it didn't do what they wanted because it's internal. And so just, I guess we've stressed this a little bit now, the reconstruction or not, because I want you to be a free agent, you, the listener, to know what you're doing and do you want to do this, and you have a choice to, and you perfectly fine to do the reconstruction if that's what you want to do.
Well, yes,
but decide for yourself if that's really what you want.
Right. The discussion was about femininity.
Yes.
And so what is it, settle kind of in your heart and deal with those issues about what does it mean to you to be feminine and to your partner to be feminine. And then you're going to talk, I think in a minute, if I remember, about how men do this incredible, awful thing. One of a lot of awful things about using whether or not we want to have sex with somebody to make them feel feminine, or you know what I mean?
I had an extraordinary experience when I went to California and was visiting my daughter, Anna. And it was, I don't know, a few months after the surgery. I was all healed and everything, but Hannah did a chest massage for me. I'm telling you, it was so intimate and nurturing. Oh my gosh. I was in tears, and it was, we were out on the balcony. It was high up where nobody could see on us, but on a massage table. And she was just massaging my chest. I was weeping. It felt so intimate and so nurturing and so caring. So there's an interesting thing that when you become a certain age as a woman, you become invisible in the culture. What I mean by that, it was Meryl Streep, whom I absolutely love.
By the way, shout out Meryl. We know you're listening. Shout out. Call us.
Yeah. She talked once about women getting older, and she said, young men don't even see you. They don't even see you. And it's true. What relevance are you to them? There's also a little story that I find very funny, that I was on a ferry with Natalie in San Francisco, our middle daughter. And there was a young man looking at her, just looking at her, And I said, that guy's really looking at you. She was married and everything. It wasn't like anything was going to happen, but, and she kind of smiled. And I said, yeah, when men look at me that way, the age of the man who looks at me has gone steadily up as I've gotten older. It's just funny.
Please.
But younger men, they don't have any use for you. And when you...
That's so horrible.
It's instead of the wisdom that you might have.
And I felt bad for trashing men, but that's horrible. Accurate.
Yeah. And, Tina Fey and Amy Poehler.
By the way, Tina and Amy, we know you're listening. Thanks. Shout out. Call us too.
They were talking about how women become invisible once they're no longer effable, is the word they use, when men no longer want to have sex with you. So that's, in other words, in a kind of patriarchal culture, that's where women are as an adjunct to men. And so that's where you have to stake your own claim. And I said a minute ago that this cancer came when I was 60. I'm 61 now. And so all of this self-confidence, all of this maturity, all of this wisdom, it took 61 years to get here. I had to go through all the things. So if you're not in that place, it is a process. I just want to be clear about that. But there comes a point where you just own it. You own your power. You own your gray hair. What better time than a pandemic to just let all the gray we've seen a lot of people on TV now that have let their gray come out. And I love that gray is a thing for younger women, by the way. I think it makes it cool. It takes the aginess out of it. But embrace those postmenopausal years. That's when your brain is more like a man's, which is, physically. And that's because the extra part that was added through your hormones, it's a whole scientific thing. The extra part that was added through your hormones to gear you toward nurturing your children, that came specifically with your hormones. And that goes away when the hormones go at menopause. And now you have as much nurturing ability as a man who is in touch with his nurturing ability. And that's plenty.
What are you saying? Oh.
That's plenty. Yeah. If you don't have to hear a baby crying in the night anymore, then you've got plenty of hormones for being feminine. But you're coming into your golden wisdom at this age. I'm talking as if I'm talking to postmenopausal women or approaching menopause, but what I'm saying is there's a lot to look forward to as a strong, feminine woman. Your femininity is not tied up in your breasts and your ovaries, or if you're effable. Your femininity is part of the balance of this very masculine, macho, chase, whatever, try to climb to the top of the pile culture that we live in. We need the femininity, which is the balance and the caring and the nurturing and the right brain, all of that.
The relationship.
Yes. And so you own that, and don't let culture, and I mean male culture, put you on a shelf because you're past your prime. You are not past your prime. You are in your prime. You didn't fight your way to get all this wisdom for nothing. It's time to use it, girl. It is time to use it.
So why don't you wrap us up here? We're coming to the end of our time. So why don't you, I'm just going to turn it over to you.
Yeah.
And you wrap us up.
All right. I'm going to say a couple more things about the aging, that you become a visible woman and you accept your aging body as it is. There's a word that used to have a great connotation to it, and that's the word crone. Also, the word hag used to mean a woman of aged wisdom. Of course, what does it mean now? Somebody who looks like a witch is what it means now. But we get to use this crone word as a word of respect to own it. So all of that is to say, whatever you choose for yourself is the right choice. Whatever you need to do for yourself is the right choice. You get to, if it's surgery, if it's reconstruction, if it's keeping your breasts and just having the cancer removed, whatever you need to do, you do. Going flat, whatever expresses your femininity is right for you. And if you want to email me to go ahead, I don't know how many I can answer, but I'll answer all of them as possible.
Yeah, that's Susan at FreedHearts.org.
Yeah, but you own it. You own who you are. There's nobody else here on this planet like you. And you get to be here to own all the space you take. Don't apologize for the space you take. Don't apologize for who you are. Don't apologize for being less than some ideal you think you should be, because you are ideal exactly the way you are. We love you. You're beloved. And we are grateful for you. And we'll talk to you soon.
Would it be okay if I were to tell you that I am afraid someday, so I call you up and you call me down? Would it be okay?
You've been listening to the Freed Hearts Podcast. We have extensive resources and vibrant community for you at www.freedhearts.org. Just come say hello. And if you have questions or issues or comments about the podcast, things you'd like us to talk about, reach out to us at podcast@freedhearts.org. FreedHearts.org. The music is provided by Hannah Cottrell, our daughter, the Grammy-nominated Saint Sinner, and you can find out more about her at HeySaintSinner.com. Please share this, subscribe, and follow on your favorite platform, and thanks for listening.